So I want to welcome each and every one of us to this uh, unit 5 of this executive wellness leadership program. Uh, I believe we have been learning a lot through this executive program. We are almost there, and today we believe that we'll be able to cover at least two more units, uh, which will be Unit 6, Unit 5, and 6. And then we'll be hoping to conclude in the next 2 weeks. So today, we are going to be looking at the choice to embrace my own self identity. One of the things that I have discovered about those who suffer depression or who are going through clinical uh, depressive symptoms is that one of the problems that they have is the problem of uh, identity, the problem uh, of crisis of identity. That is one of the problems that they have. Some of them don't even understand who they are. They don't even understand where they stand. They don't even understand what they are worth. And so that brings a lot of pressure upon them. And then when they begin to have this crisis of identity, then before you know it, the problem of depression begins to set in. But in this lesson, we're going to look at how we can accept ourselves as who we are, how we can embrace ourselves for what we represent, for what we stand for who we think we are. These are very important. And just like Eleanor Roosevelt, clearly put it, he said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And I believe this to be true. It is the way you project yourself before people. That is the way you will be accepted. If you see yourself as nobody, no, as somebody that is not important, as somebody who has no significance, who has nothing significant to contribute, that is exactly the way people are going to accept you. But if you see yourself as somebody who is able to contribute uh, or who has something to bring to the table, if you value yourself, people are going to value you. If you don't value yourself, people are going to disrespect and dishonor you. So it is really, really very critical. If we must live a healthy life, we have to embrace our self-identity. You have to love the way you talk. You have to love the way you speak. You have to love the way you walk, the way you carry yourself. These are very, very important. I remember many years ago, uh, I used to feel very sad about the way I speak. I just, for whatever reason, I just believe I don't speak in a good way. So when I hear other people speak, I believe they are more gifted, or they are more, the way they speak is even more important than the way I speak. So I don't see value in the way I speak. Even when I hear myself speak, I don't like it. And I had to battle with that for many years until I began to understand myself. I began to embrace myself. I began to believe in myself. I began to see the uniqueness that I possess. Not until that, uh, I never saw any good in myself. And that is the problem many of us are facing today. We never see any good thing coming out of us. But I believe after this lesson, all that is going to change about you and about any other person who is going to come across this lesson. So let's go on as we try to find out, who am I? You know, as simple as that question is, this is the question that holds the key to everything about you. What you are going to become in life, what you are going to become in future, the kind of wife you are going to marry, the kind of husband you are going to marry, the kind of job you are going to do, the kind of everything that defines you. This is the question that holds the key to it. Who am I? And it is the way you conceive yourself to be, what you conceive yourself to be, what you think you represent is what will determine what eventually becomes your lot in life. And I'm going to quote what Theodore Roosevelt says, which is going to be a wisdom quote and is going to guide our conversation in this session of Who Am I? Theodore Roosevelt says, I care not what other thinks of what I do, but I care very much about what I think, of what I do. And that is character. Let me take it again. I care not what other thinks of what I do, but I care very much about what I think of what I do. And that is character. Now, so let's begin to unwrap that question. It's highly philosophical. Who am I? Philosophers have tried to unravel that questions. So I'm sure you are going to contribute to that question today by trying to understand who you think you are. So who am I? What do you have to say? What do you think you are? You don't need to bother yourself about who am I. We are simply talking about you. So it's all about you here. Who are you? Who am I? Now let's begin to engage with that question. Who am I? You can unmute and then speak up. Or if you want to put in the chat, that is also welcomed. I can help you read it out. But it will be good if we can have the conversation together. Who am I? Who am I?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, this question is to me it's personal. I think the response, every one of us, once you ask that question, I'm sure at least almost all of us, if not all, have answered the question in our head.
Exactly.
In different perspective. Who am I? To a layman, I am Tobi Olaoye, for instance. That's me, and I'm a native of Osun State, local government. But to me, I think who am I goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
Because all those responses, well, it's a surface kind of a thing. It's a surface kind of response.
Exactly. It's just the icing on
the surface.
Yes. On the cake.
So I think, to me, if I am to answer the question, probably in an interview or probably in a place that I just need to introduce myself and hold, who are you? So I would answer that even on my, I said I'm a father, a husband, and a friend. That means I am a go-getter. I have a purpose. I am me. And I don't believe anybody will be me. Like, I think I am me and I'm special in my own little way. So I think that's my own answer. Thank you.
Thank you. In other words, you conceive yourself to be distinctively different from other people. Nobody can be you. You are just you. And nobody has ever been you. And nobody will ever be you. That is how powerful our self-identity is. No matter how identical twins can be, they are two separate entities, never the same entity. Yes, who else wants to contribute? Who are you? Who am I? Who are you? You know, this is the call. This is when you can get to the bottom of this question, just like Toby said, when you can get to the core of this question, then I can assure you that you have struck a very, you have struck a treasure about your life. That is where the treasure of your life lies, the ability to discover who you are. Yes, who else wants to? Let's just take one or two more, then we move on. And it will be good if you can move very rapidly because of our time.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Is that
this is Adenika?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, sir. So I just want to chip something in because I believe we are asking the question, who am I?
Exactly.
So if I were to answer that question, it would take me back to what the word of the Lord says. It says that I am beautifully and wonderfully created.
Wow.
I am beautifully and wonderfully created. Wow. That is, I am a unique entity, like you have said. Yeah. And then, of course, I want to add that, you know, even God had to tell us that when he was about to create man, he said, let us make man in our own image. That is, let us make man in our own image. And he went ahead and we were created in the very image of God.
The exact replica.
So that means that everything that God has, we also have. Which, and that is why in the book of, I think is Psalm 82 verse 10 or so, we're made to understand that we are even God on earth. That is how powerful I am as I am as an individual, as you are as an individual. So you are a God on earth. So there is no limitation to the possibility of you. That is, you are that vast. You are that wide.
No limitation. I like that word. You are just
there is no
boundless.
You can be anything. Because you can be everything. Because you are a God on earth. You are you even told Moses when he was going to face Pharaoh, he said, I have made you a God unto Moses, which means that as powerful as Moses, I have made you a God unto Pharaoh. As powerful as Pharaoh was in those days, you know, God was able to open Moses' eyes to who he was. And I think that's why they were able to lead the children of Israel out of the land of captivity, the land of Egypt. So you can be anything. You can be a warrior. You can be a savior.
So you just have to fill in the blank.
Yes. So you can be everything. So I believe I am unique. I can be whatever I set my mind to. I can be a God in this nation. I can be a God in the whole world as long as I desire it. So I think I've been able
very
to.
Much.
All right.
Just like Adenika said, and just like I said at the beginning, when you can get to the roots of who you are, you have truly struck a treasure, because that is the whole thing that defines you and It is what makes you, you. And I think it is Mayowa who is saying, I'm God's purpose for humanity. In other words, he's here to fulfill a particular assignment, in the midst of humanity. And he also, somebody also said, and I think that's Toby said, I am who God says I am. So what you just need to do is to get to the root of that essence of you. Get to the bottom line of what you truly represent, and then begin to live out what you believe that you represent. Now let's now wrap up our conversation so that we can also go to other areas that we need to talk about. Her conversation summary says, embracing one's self-identity is all about accepting yourself for who you are, for what you have. Oftentimes, it is easier to accept other people than to accept yourself because of a feeling you have of yourself as not good enough like other people. And I just told you at the beginning that was where I was. I often have a feeling that other people are better off than me. They talk better, they speak better, they look better, they work better, they achieve better, they are smarter. That was where I was, but that is not where I am today, because I have come to the realization that, just like Adenike said, that I am beautifully and wonderfully created. And so I am limitless. What I can be is not yet known. The eye have not seen it, the mind have not conceived it, neither has it come to the imagination of anybody what I am capable of becoming in life. So our leadership mindfulness thoughts says there is a time in our life that we need to sit down and ask ourselves, who am I? And that is one of the crucial time we're trying to exercise here now. So just take a little moment and ask ourselves, who am I? Now, the idea here is to self-dialogue with yourself. Talk to yourself. Ask yourself questions, and then let answer come from your innermost being. So it is about that time you need to embark on the journey of self-discovery, because I believe that many emotional crises, the root of it is lack of or inability to discover who we are. Now let's go to the question. How do you see the world around you? That question, as simple as it may seem, is very, very powerful, because how you see the world around you determines what becomes your lot in life. And to guide us in this conversation are wisdom quotes from Anais Nin. It says, we don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. I come again. We don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. So let's engage with that conversation or with that question. How do you see the world around you? How do you see the world around you? Do you see the world as a trouble-filled world? Do you see it as a world that is filled with opportunities? Or do you see challenges everywhere? How do you see the world around you? Tell me about how your world looks like. and then we can have a conversation together. How do you see the world around you? Let's make it snappy. How do we see the world around you? Or how do you see the world around you? Is anybody responding to that? I'm waiting. Is it difficult?
Let me
to explain how you see the world.
It's a little bit how I put it. The questions is simple, but at the same time has a very huge answer. But to me, I see the world as a giant playground with different races, different cultures, different opportunities, different challenges. But at the same time, I see it as a playing ground because people come, do their quota, and then leave. So what matters most is this world. What's your purpose for coming into it? And you getting to know your purpose and you getting to achieve your purpose before leaving the playground. That is my own little contribution.
If I were to choose the phrase you have adopted, I would say, for you, the world is a playground. You see, that word or that phrase is very, very powerful. Because what the question I am asking is, how do you interpret what happens to you in life? How do you interact with things that happens to you in life? How do you relate with things that happens to you in life? Now, for Toby, the lenses through which Toby sees the world is the lens of a playground. And believe me honestly, every of your interpretation of life will be looked or will be viewed through that lens. And that is why it is very, very important for us to be careful of the kind of lens through which we interpret the world around us. For example, if you see this world as a world that is filled with boundless opportunity, that is how you are going to be relating with the world. That is how you are going to be interpreting the world. That is the prism through which you are going to see what happens to you in this world. And if you see this world as a very challenging world, filled with ups and downs, very chaotic, very disturbing, not so good, not so easy to make it in life, listen to me, that is going to be your lived experience. That is exactly what is going to be happening to you. Because that is how that is the lens, that is how you see the world. And it is how you see the world that will determine how you interact with the things that are in the world. I believe we are getting that. Now, Mayowa says you see the world around you based on your belief system. That is very, very true. Based on your belief system. And your belief system is an accumulation of the things you have seen around you. You see this, you adopt it. You know, sometimes you can see certain things, you just overlook it because it doesn't exist in your world. I don't know if we get that point. There are certain things you come in contact with, You don't acknowledge it. Do you know why you don't acknowledge such things? Because it doesn't exist in your world. Even though it is in the world, it does not exist in your own world. So you overlook it. Whereas somebody else will see the same thing and give it a careful attention. Why? Because such a phenomenon is present in that person's world. So the way you see the world is based on your belief system. According to Mayowa, what you believe is what you see. So it is what you believe that will determine the things you will attract. If you don't believe certain things can happen, there is no way you will attract them. And it is what you believe. And that is why our belief is very important. That is why, for those of us who are Christians, the issue of faith is very, very central to the practice of Christianity. Without faith, Christianity is not Christianity. That is the bottom line. That is the anchor that holds Christianity together. Your faith, your belief system. And it is also very crucial to how you interpret the world around you. Do we have somebody else just chipping in one more thing, then we wrap up that conversation?
Okay. Good afternoon again, sir.
Good afternoon.
So I think you have already said everything anyway, because I was going to say that as a Christian, that it's very hard for me to see the world any less than the way God says it is. He said he has already conquered the world. I mean, this is like giving you a whole world to manifest. Jonathan, he has already conquered it. That means the only thing is that if you will stick with him, you can conquer the world. The world can be your space. It can be your happy place. It can be your joyful place. It can be your place of exploit. It can be a place you can easily dominate. It can be a place where you will rule effortlessly. So for me, I see a world as a place of great possibilities, a place where you can be a force to reckon with, and then you can impact. The world is a beautiful place, sir. It has been conquered. I really don't have to do much. Somebody has already gone ahead to, to do everything. All I just have to do is conform. As long as I will conform and stay in faith, like you have said, then anything is achievable. Anything. The world has already, I'm not the one that has done the work. Somebody else has done the work for me. Somebody else has paid the price and has conquered it for me. So it's like, for me, I think I have the world in my palms right now. Like I can mold it to be whatever it is I want it to be. So that is my own perspective of what the world is like.
Thank you very much. Now there are 3 emerging phrases that has come up from our conversation. Number 1, the world is a playground. For people who see the world as a playground, that is the lens through which you will interpret the world. Now, another phrase that also come up is that the world is viewed from the perspective of your belief system. That is the belief system. Your belief system is very, very critical in how you see the world. And then number 3, as suggested by Adenike, she said, the world is a world of possibility. And I'd like you to really pay attention to that word. For those people who see the world as a world of possibility, listen to me. They are not going to be disturbed. They are not going to believe in barriers. Those who see the world as a world of possibility don't see barriers. They see barriers as an opportunity to conquer. So these are very, very vital. So let's begin to wrap up our conversation. Now, have you noticed? I just want you to pay attention to this. Have you noticed that when you see a new car that is color green or any other color, or not when you buy a new car that is color green, or maybe your parents or maybe a family member has just bought a new car that is of a particular color, let's say color green or any other color, do you notice that immediately you will begin to see that same car all around you? How many people have witnessed that before? Just say yes if you have witnessed that before.
Yes, you start noticing it because you have the type.
Now, is it that those cars were not there before?
You are not paying attention.
Exactly. That's in fact, that is the point I wanted to bring out. It is because that car was not existing in your world. And so anything you want in this world that you don't have, it's not that it's not available. It is simply that that thing does not yet exist in your world. So when it begins to exist in your world, what will happen? You begin to attract it. You begin to do what? You begin to attract it. So anything you want to attract in this world, what you need to do first is to allow it to exist in your world. And I think that is what Toby was trying to say when he says our brain has a problem. It's not really a problem, but we can call it a problem because it's a good problem. Our brain does not have the capacity to differentiate between imagination and reality. That's the problem of the brain. So when you can't see something in your mind, it can't happen in your life. And when you see something in your mind, even though it's not available physically, before you know it, it will become a reality in real life. That is how powerful our imagination can be. So we really need to pay attention to how we see things, to what we see, we need to pay attention to the lens through which we interpret the world, because it sooner or later becomes our reality. Now here is our leadership mindfulness thought. Beware of what you see and how you see things, because sooner or later you will begin to manifest the same reality in your life. When you see a world that is doomed and full of troubles, that will soon become your lived experience. And I may also want to add, when you see a world that is filled with opportunities, that is filled with boundless possibility, just like Adenike said, that also will soon become your lived experience. Now, let's talk about your definition of success, or if you like, you can interchange it with greatness. How do you define success? How do you want to define greatness? You know, just as we are many on this platform, we believe honestly, our definition of success and greatness varies just as we are different. What is success to you may not be the same thing that I recognize to be a success, or what is greatness to you may not be something that I recognize to be greatness. So how do you define greatness or success in your own world? Now, to guide our conversation, let's hear what Ashley Matangu says in our wisdom quotes. Ashley Matangu says, the deepest personal defeat suffered by human beings is constituted by the difference between what one was capable of becoming and what one has in fact become. I can take it again. The deepest personal defeat suffered by human beings is constituted by the difference between what one was capable of becoming and what one has actually or has in fact become. So what is your definition of success? How do you want to define success? You know, sometimes this is the problem of a lot of people. This is why many people have emotional breakdown, because they don't have a good grasp of what success or greatness is. They are struggling with that definition. And so because of that, it brings a lot of stress to them emotionally. So what is your own definition of success or greatness? Yeah, the floor is open. Somebody said being successful means the achievement of desired visions or planned goals. Furthermore, success can be a certain social status that describes a prosperous person that could also have gained fame for its favorable outcome. Now, this definition is, for me, is like you trying to define success for another person. I'm not talking about you defining what success is for somebody. I'm asking you, what is success to you? What is greatness to you? That is what I want to hear, not what it is for somebody else. What
is okay, sir.
To you? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so
to define success. Oh, is somebody else speaking? I can pause.
Yeah, is that Damilola?
Right. Yes, sir. Good day, sir.
Go ahead, Damilola.
Good day, everybody.
Yeah, good evening.
To me, when I achieve a particular goal, I see that as a success. For example, my academic, I see it as a success. Like this, like if I set a particular goal for myself, for example, maybe probably I said I want to take a particular course and I'm able to scale through the program, just like this program and other courses I've taken online to develop myself and to also add more knowledge and to also gain more skill. After the completion of it, I see it as a success. Being able to help people around me to contribute to their growth and engaging in some career talks and all, I see that as a success. Success is not when someone is being displayed on the screen or being celebrated publicly. To me, with the little things I do that people don't recognize or see, I see that as a success.
So for Damilola to set a goal and then have that goal accomplished for her is success.
Yes.
That's great. That's wonderful. Let's hear you, Adenike.
Okay, sir. So for me, I want to say, sir, that to define success, I'd like to define success on a daily basis. Okay, what am I saying? Like, success is continuous, sir. It's not a dead end. It's not it's not a one-stop affair for me. Today, now, at the end of the day, if I recount everything that I planned that I would do for that day, and I'm able to achieve it, that day at the end of the day, when I'm recounting everything and I tick all the boxes, that day for me is a successful day because I was able to tick the boxes of priority that I set for that particular day. Now, for me, success in the world, like, okay, I am in this world already. At the end of the day, when I am done in this world, what is success for me? I think that will be making heaven. Because at the end of the day, after everything I have done on earth, if I lose, if I get the whole world and I miss heaven, it is a highly unsuccessful journey for me. It is a highly unsuccessful life that I have lived. But if I make heaven, so what I'm trying to say is that
you're muted. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Success is continuous. It is continuously assembly the great achievement that a person, an individual can be able to mention that they have been able to accomplish. So it is a flow. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. I got what you said.
Yes.
I think it was John Maxwell, Dr. John C. Maxwell, who also defined success as making satisfactory progress. Just like you said, that success is continuous. It has no end point. So as long as you are making progress in a satisfactory manner, always taking your boxes as you go along, and you do that on a continuous basis, just like you said, and according to Dr. C. Maxwell, Dr. John C. Maxwell, that is success, making satisfactory progress as you journey through life. Mayowa says, success to me is achieving goals, finding fulfillment and happiness through dedication and perseverance and making a positive impact. That is powerful. That is awesome. And that is what success is to him. So, Toby, let's hear you.
To answer the question now personally, I give a general definition to success earlier.
Yeah.
But to me now, I think since I was 16, this Bible verse has been a watchword on the success note for me. That's Romans 12:11. Romans chapter 12, verse 11. Find passion in your work and remain steadfast in your love for the Lord. Then you will see success.
Wow, that's amazing.
There is success.
Which version is that?
That is Romans 12, KJV, King James.
KJV.
Romans 12:11. There is success, and then there is good success. You are a pastor. I have Adenike, a pastor to be as well. So, success to me is not just about achieving. Sometimes you might have your group, like your peer group, moving at the level, and you are not moving with them, or peradventure you are not like, okay, my mates are getting married, you are not yet married. My mates are graduating, you are not yet graduated. Everybody has their own time frame. We can't, at least for Obama retired at the age of 50 something or thereabouts, while Trump started at 70. Everybody has a milestone. Everybody has a time. Everybody has a time. Sir?
Their own timetable.
Yes, the world itself, it's like I said, is a playground. It's like an examination sheet. We are writing exams with different question papers. So if we are to go by, because said the word of the Lord should not depart from your mouth, and you should follow suit. I'm just trying to interpret the Bible. So if Romans 12:11 is a verse that you just have to find passion in what you do. what gives you, what you can do that you make you happy. I used to say that word times over time, that what can I do that even if I'm not being paid, I will still be able to do it. You find passion in it. Then you keep remaining steadfast, because all the promises of success, all the promises, like Adenike said, like Damilola said, that you tick on a daily basis. There are some times that you would emphasize, I want to do this thing today, and it will not work out because it's not yet time. Life happens to me on a daily basis per se, but in the long run, were you able to achieve your set goals? Adenike said something about making heaven. Even if you ask a sinner, an ex-convict today, what do you want? He will tell you, I want to make heaven. But did he or she work towards that part? So the thing is, we need to now, to me personally, I believe success for me is being able to, look back at some milestone in my life, and I'll still be able to give glory to God in life as we progress, and success comes along the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've all said so much, and everything we have said are very, very important. We have to see success in a larger picture other than just having money in your bank account, having houses here and there, and then living a good life is part of success, but that is not the whole essence of success. And I believe that is all we have said. And you can see that as every one of us were defining success, nobody ever defined success in terms of money. Did anybody notice that? That none of us ever defined success by how much money we have. And that is a very wonderful, point that we need to know, that success is not about money. It is more than money. Now let's wrap up our conversation by taking a conversation summary. When you think of success, you should focus less on people's praise of your accomplishments and focus more on the manner of expression of your character. Your character is what determines how you behave in public spaces. It is what you manifest all the time, and ultimately, it is what represents who you are. In other words, success, we can say, is an expression of who you are, which was the very first question we asked ourselves: who am I? Success is expressing that person that you conceive yourself to be. And when you express that person in a credible way in the public space, then it will procure success for you. So our leadership mindfulness thought says, the joy to have become what one truly desire of becoming in life is the most succinct definition of success. When you desire to become something and you eventually become that thing, there can never be any other definition of success than that. Just like the way Damilola said, she said if she desired to take a particular course online and she was able to achieve it, then for her, that is success. And that is exactly what our leadership mindfulness thought is talking about. That when you conceive yourself of becoming somebody and you eventually become that thing, then that for you and for any one of us is a definition of success. Now, how can I be true to myself? Do you know there are some people who are never true to themselves? They keep living in hypocrisy. They keep living a double life. They keep living a life that is not authentic to themselves. So how do I Or how can I be true to myself? Now, let's hear what Henry Ward Beecher says in our wisdom quote. Henry Ward Beecher says, the truest self-respect is not to think of self. In other words, you need to think of something that is larger than this self that is limited, in what it can do or what it can achieve. So let's begin to engage with that. How can I be true to myself? What do you need to do to be true to yourself? Yes, the floor is open. What do you need to do true to yourself?
Okay, so, sir, personally, I believe that one of the ways you can be true to yourself is by honestly being honest. Just be honest with yourself. Because if you can tell yourself the hard truth, the honest truth, be sincere, absolutely sincere, then you'll be true to yourself. Ask yourself, okay, I think there is one quote, I think it's a golden rule that says, do to others what you would have them do to you. That is, do unto others what you would have them do unto you. So once you can be sincere with yourself that, can I do this thing to myself? Before you throw a stone at another person, if you can honestly ask yourself that, if I do this thing to myself, if someone else were to do this thing to me, would I be okay with it? Asking yourself all those are truths. We give you room to be true to yourself. If you can ask yourself the hard truth, the hard questions, that okay, if someone else did this to me, how would I feel? Can I take it? Can I swallow this? So if you can ask all those hard questions, sir, and this is coming from a place of honesty, from a place of deep sincerity, then I think you are being true to yourself. And if you are a child of God, there is no way you will not be true to yourself, because even the Bible says an unexamined life is not worthy of being lived. Once you can thoroughly examine your life, you'll be true to yourself and you'll be true to others. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, the scripture you just quoted reminded me of what Socrates also said. He said, a life that is not examined is not worth living. So we need to examine ourselves. We need to be truthful to ourselves. We need to be honest to ourselves. We need to tell ourselves the plain truth, nothing but the truth at all times. Mayowa says, to be true to yourself, you need to embrace authenticity. You need to be self-aware. You need to engage in self-care. Trust your instincts. Set boundaries. Follow your passion. Learn from your failures, and surround yourself with supportive people. And avoid, I just add this to it, and avoid unhealthy comparison. You need to avoid it like a plague. So that is, according to Mayowa, that is all that you need to do to be true to yourself. Thank you for that submission, Mayowa. So I think we can wrap up our conversation by taking our conversation summary. Now, our conversation summary says, okay, go ahead, Toby.
Sorry, sir. I just wanted to buttress what Adenike and Mayowa said now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm saying it as a question. Like, I'm throwing it as a question.
Okay.
Like, if we want to be true to ourselves, where does pretense stand? I am me. I want to do me. I want to be true to myself. I want to do me. Like, I want to do me. I'm trusting my instincts, and in some instances, you have to pretend to be what you are not. In some instances, so where does that stand? I want to be true to myself. I'm trying to do me, but where does pretense? I don't know if you get my question, sir.
I don't know what you mean by pretense, because if you are pretending, to me, pretension or to pretend means representing yourself in a manner that you are not. That is what it is. And when you are representing yourself in a manner that you are not, even you yourself, you know that, even though you are covering up, and the people around you may not immediately see it, but eventually you will get found out. That's the truth about it. Nobody can cover lies forever. It will be exposed one day. So when you have a limitation, believe me honestly, every one of us, we know our limitation, and we also know what we can do. You know, there is one thing for you to have a potential. There is another thing for you to have been able to get to that level of that potential. Those are two different things. But when something you don't even have capacity for at all, there is no point pretending to have such a capacity. That's the best way I think I can explain that. Because pretense is a very big word. Nobody pretends in ignorance. It doesn't happen. If you are pretending, you have a full knowledge of the fact that you are actually pretending. You know, that's the way I can explain that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, thank you. Our conversation summary says, don't take yourself too seriously. You know, it's part of what we are talking about. Make room for flexibilities around you. Create some moments to laugh at some of your stupidities. So you can see that even being true to yourself doesn't mean that you can't make mistakes. But you are open to it, that you are only sincerely trying to do something that you believe you are capable of doing, even though you have not yet achieved success, doing it. So you have to look beyond yourself by also giving other people a chance to explore their potential. Believe me honestly, we cannot do everything. We also need to let other people around us to thrive and explore their own potential and collaborate with them. We are going to learn that. We are going to learn about that maybe in the process of this course. We are going to learn about how we can collaborate. So our leadership mindfulness thoughts says, to have an amazing experience in life, you have to take off pressure away from yourself. Can you see that, Toby? You have to take off pressure away from yourself and experience the beauty of life through what others are capable of doing. The truth of the matter is, we cannot all do everything. There are certain things that God has positioned in the life of other people that only if we allow them to complement us, that is when our joy can be full. So we have to allow people around us to also thrive, so that we don't become the only star in the sky. So what are my values in life? What do you truly value? What are your values? Let's hear from Jawabala Neberu. Jawabala Neberu. The wisdom quote from Jawabala Neberu says, what we really are matters more than what other people think of us. What we really are matter more than what other people think of us. So let's engage with that conversation. What are my values? What do you truly value in life? If I should ask you, tell me from 1 to number 7, what your values in life according to their importance. What are the things you are going to tell me? What are your values in life? Yes, let's go ahead. What are your values in life? What are the things you value in life? Or we don't have any values. You can't even tell me that, because I know every one of us has some values.
Okay. Sorry. And good afternoon, sir, again.
Good afternoon.
Oh, so I think your values have to do greatly with your belief system.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we'll be hearing about that since the beginning of this lesson. Yeah.
Yes. So and because this question is highly subjective, so I'm just going to use myself.
Yeah. Our values will differ. My value will be clearly different from your values.
Yes. So for me, like I have said from the beginning of this class, or should I say meeting, I am a child of God. So my values largely revolve around what God has laid down as our templates for living as children of God.
What you are telling me is that you value above everything else your relationship with God.
Yes. Yeah. Above everything else. My relationship with God is top notch, is of the highest priority, of the highest relevance.
Number one priority.
Number one priority. Love for God. It's top on the list. So any other thing, they fall below. They come afterwards. And I don't really see any other thing that is not already stipulated in the Word of God. Even in our world right now, everything that we are calling morals, all those things, they are already in the Bible. They are already in the Bible. We are not the one that coined it. Somebody somewhere got it from somewhere, and left it for us. So the values, if you read, I think we spoke about in the last class, we talked about Galatians 5:22. Those are values. Those are values. If you read all those 9 fruits of the Spirit, you will see lots of values, things to be treasured.
They are basically the way we behave.
Yes. The way, and those are those are the things that mold our belief system, sir.
Yeah.
Because number one, if I believe that I should let's speak love now. That I believe that I should love, that I must love, because it's a commandment. And why should I love? Because I believe that the God I serve is love. And every other thing I do, if I have faith, if I have every other thing, and I do not have love, it will not work. That is how powerful love is. So definitely, when I am looking for maybe a life partner, what I will value most in that person is love. Do you understand what I'm saying, sir?
Yeah.
Because that is who I am. So we tend to attract who we are. The things you value, those are the things you will be attracted to in other people, sir. So, like I said, everything that God says in His word are the things that we should obey, that we should abide by. Those are the things I value. Thank you, sir.
So everything God says are the things we should value first and foremost. We should value what God says. And I think it was Joshua chapter 1 verses that says, "This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but thou shalt meditate." That is, you are valuing the word. And when you value the word, it said, then you shall observe to do according to all that is written there, and that is still valuing the word, then you shall have a good success, and you shall be prosperous and have a good success. So it is to value every instruction that comes from the mouth of God. Now, let's go to our next question. If you have the chance to eliminate...
It seems I wanted to say something, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayo.
Sorry, good evening, sir. I'm not very contributing. I'm just trying to reply back there. That is kind of easy for me, and I'm actually doing something because I want to make sure I'm here. So I just want to stress on what the other sister said about the value system.
Yeah.
And I agree with her. You have to value the word of God. In the sense that if you value anything like mundane thing around the world, they will pass. So, like, let me use an example. The building that they are building like 20 years or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And not the same kind of building that they are building now. So if you have a value of things, everything you can see around you in the world pass away by time. Once time goes, they pass away, they get the meaning. So the only thing that remains forever is the word. So if the word is put to you per time, per season, those are the only things that can never change. So those are the things that value.
Thank you very much. Though we can't hear you clearly, but I can faintly get the message you are saying, that we should not value mundane things of life because they will soon pass away. Rather, what we should value is something that has eternal value, rather than things that have that is only relevant here in this world. Thank you. Let's quickly move. Our time is fast spent. So our next question: if you have the chance to eliminate the risk of failure in your life, by what life event? Okay, before we do that, sorry, I think we need to take our conversation summary. Another way to think of your value is to ask yourself, what quality or qualities do I possess that has remained consistent with me in the past, present, and will likely be there in the future? You are to show fidelity to your values for as long as you live, because they are your personal philosophy for an effective life. So there is something that is very peculiar with values. Values are consistent. They don't change. They are always consistent. They are the same today, tomorrow, and forever. They are the same yesterday, today, and forever. They are very consistent. And our leadership mindfulness thought says, your values in life are expected to be constant, unchanging, consistent, fixed, enduring, especially if they are good values. So let's go to the next question. If you have the chance to eliminate the risk of failure in your life, by what life event would you wish to be defined? Now, Mariah Carey, I believe that should be the singer, says, you really have to look inside yourself and find your own inner strength and say, I am proud of what I am and who I am, and I am just going to be myself. What a powerful wisdom quote to open this conversation. So let's engage. If you have a chance to eliminate the risk of failure in your life, by what life event would you wish to be defined? Now let's assume failure is not going to be an issue. What event in life do you want to be defined by?
Okay, so I didn't really get the question very well. So I want to reframe it. Is it that you are saying that, okay, if you don't want to, like, you don't want to put it in a particular area, like, what are the things that you need to implement? Is that the question, sir?
Well, I didn't get you, but what the question is saying is that if you are going to attempt anything in life and you are not going to have any concern about failure in that assignment, if you are not going to have any concern of failure in that assignment, what would that assignment be? If there is any assignment you want to do in life, and the idea or the issue of failure is not going to arise, what is that assignment do you think you want your life to be defined?
Okay. Okay, I want to say something.
Yes, I just want to just hit on that because actually that's one thing that I've been really overviewing on lately. I think the thing you can do that you can be assured that okay, oh, this thing, oh, I cannot fear about this thing. This thing is too assured. Is what God says. You see back to what we are saying. You see what God says because most of the time it takes me a lot of time to actually implement some certain things in my life. Okay, when I was to I remember then when I was to school then I was given like 4 admission that year. You understand? I will have to wait. If I don't hear anything, I don't move. Because I hate failure as a person. I hate I hate starting a thing and then I know failure is part of life. You understand? Even sometimes when you learn God, even if I later fail, I will believe that God wants me to learn one or two lessons from what actually happened. So hearing God's intention about what you want to do. So even if you fail, you'll be able to like okay know that this thing is not just like okay, just fail. There's something what God wants to pick out of it. So thanks, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Toby, let's hear you.
Me, I will take it from another angle, because if I try as much as possible not to go the biblical way, because I know majority of everybody on this group, we are Christians and we are fervent with our how I put it, with our dealings with God. Everybody has their personal relationship with God. Everybody does. Even I myself, when I had to go for a retreat for myself, I know, as in, when you make mistake, you have to retreat and then try as much as possible to retrace your step so that you won't go down. Now, to answer this question from another point of view, we are taking out the failure factor, like this thing, you are into it and then you can't fail. You can't fail. There's no failure. Anything you do will be successful. So talking from my own point of view or my own perspective, my own person, what I would love to be divine or probably remembered for, probably after my demise, is me being able to put smile on the less privileged, especially the disabled face. That is what I want. I wanted to be able to take care of kids with disability, special needs. Let me use that word. That is people with cerebral palsy, autism, Down syndrome and all, and which I've even been taking. I've been going to symposiums, to classes, to trainings and all. And I think it's a purpose. It's what I want. Like I even still want God to at least show me what to do, because just of recent, I noticed I have flair for I've spent some more time now with all these vulnerable children than it used to be. And my focus, my purpose is just God should just give this fund, probably an NGO in that regard. So I'm talking from my own point of view. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have said we have anybody else?
Yes, sir. I have something to say. Okay, sir. To if I were to have a chance to eliminate the risk of failure in my life, by what life event would I wish to be defined? Honestly, sir, even if I were to define this in relation to God, I can never tell you that I have never failed before. There are times I have failed that I will even say, God, I'm sorry. Let's start all over again. Yeah. So if I were to define myself as eliminating the risk of failure, I would probably tell you that, sir, I am unrelenting, unperturbed, untiring, never giving up. I will keep trying and trying and trying and trying until I get it right. I will not give up. I will be untiring. unperturbed, unrelenting in my pursuit, because failure is giving up. As long as I refuse to give up, I am fine to be defined as that.
Give up doing what?
Thank you very much. I think does somebody have dictionary very close by so that we can begin to check all those big grammars that she has let out of our vocabulary bank.
And then you can give up doing what? Because me, I'm still trying to picture that your give up. What are you not giving up on?
In the pursuit of the goal I have set for myself. So be it in my service to God, in my service to humanity, in chasing what I am supposed to be chasing. Because let's be honest, in this world, there's nothing like eliminating the risk of failure. You will fail. Yeah. Not that you will not fail, but keep trying, keep striving, stand up again, definitely. Be unperturbed, be unrelenting, be untiring.
You know the reason why eliminating the risk of failure is there. It's just for us to get to that point. It's not that you are not going to encounter that failure, but if failure is not going to be the problem, what would that thing be? Let's assume even when we eventually know that thing, failure is going to happen. But let's take care of failure first. If failure is not going to be our problem, what do you want to do with your life? Let's identify that thing. Then when you now identify it, and when you begin to try your luck on it, and you encounter failure, you just
cannot face failure.
You cannot face failure and say, failure, I am here to defeat you. That's what we are trying to say. Yeah. And I believe we all got what we are trying to do. I just want to bring you to you understanding what truly belongs to you, and then giving yourself to what belongs to you. Thank you very much. Now let's wrap up with a conversation summary. This is the question. Now, talking about this question, this is a deeply personal question, no doubt about that everyone should genuinely find an answer to. A number of us have found an answer to that because it holds the clue to what you have been born to do. It is important to know that failure is never final in every life circumstances, just like Denike said. And here is our leadership mindfulness thought. Don't see your failure as your destiny defining experience, but rather as an opportunity to learn something new and different from what you have been used to. I think that's very powerful. So it's not that we are saying there won't be failure in life. In fact, you will have plenty of them, but always see them as a learning experience rather than a defining moment of your life. See them as a learning experience rather than a defining moment of your life. Now, the last question. Who do I give the permission to define my identity? Do we give the permission to God? Do we give it to man? Or do I give it to myself? At least somebody out of these three people must have the permission to define my identity. So who do you want to give your own permission to?
This is straightforward, now.
You may think it's straightforward, but it may not really be straightforward.
To me, it's very, very straightforward because it's like an objective test.
Yeah.
You have option A, B, and C. It's like PPT. So everybody, even someone
that
answer
can also be all of the above. The answer can also be all of the above.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But now there's none of the above. Yeah. But frankly speaking, actually, the three God is a factor that is not supposed to be with this other two factor. Yeah. God first. For anything you want to do, God factor first. So, but coming down now, because God, even in his word, he will come down from heaven to help you. He will send people to you.
So can you see that the answer is becoming more than one now?
Yeah, that's true. So, but everybody, straightforward like this, everybody, God, take control,
of course, straightforward. You just pick God straight.
But he will not.
But
he will not come down from heaven.
On the deeper thoughts, you now begin to discover this one can also be important.
So everybody, for us now, we tend to have. You said you have. This word just left me now. You want to have someone as your role model. Mentor. That's the word. So you sometimes your mentor, even sometimes your pastor. Some people have even made their pastor, God, like they are God ordained,
God-like in their life,
pathfinder.
Yeah.
Because some people want to take any decision, they will run to their pastors. No, I don't do that. They will run to their pastors first to please, this is what I want to do. This is the next step I want to do. And even if their pastor says don't do it, and they will just, no matter how lucrative it might be. So to me, God factors first. It's not even negotiable. Then ourselves, we need to look inwardly. We need to look inwardly on, the permission. Sometimes our parents might tell you, do this, and you rebelliously, no, I'm not going to do this. No matter what you say, I'm not going to do this, because at some certain age, especially when you are 18 and above, they believe you are. Everybody believe you are responsible for yourself.
Yeah.
Your parents could tell you do this. At that age, you might tell them, no, dad, no, mom, this is how I want to do my thing. Yeah. You might now later fail there, but you still have that liberty to make your decision. So to me, I think the three options here go all in all, because there's this adage that says you learn from others people's experience, like people that are far above you, people that have gone through the route, people that have gone ahead of you. You can learn so that it will be faster for you. What they pass through, learning from their own mistake, they can use it to something happened just of recent, and Daddy actually called my attention to it during its personal. He called my attention to it, and I saw light. Daddy and mommy called attention to me, like the Reverend Oshineye and mommy called my attention to it, because to me, I see it as I'm trying to save my wife, or probably I'm trying to keep the identity of my wife, or I'm just trying to keep the identity of not knowing that I'm even shooting myself in the leg. So it takes them the experience of being married for years to correct that. Even from wearing my wedding band and all, I just take it with levity, because it's not something I count like, okay, I'm married, I need to, they are just like, oh, this thing, it's like I'm working on a time bomb. And it takes the grace of God, because to me, I see it as it's one of those things, because sometimes I'm carefree. I know that it's one of those things that happen. But on calling my attention to it, a whole lot of people even walked out. I don't need to tell people to leave. People that have bad intentions, when they saw from my DP alone, they left me that, so you are married, something like that. So I think it's good to take the three factors. It pays to take it into consideration, what God says, and the people that matters, men that matters. Sometimes it's, and you yourself, because they might tell you to do things, you might still be reluctant to do it. So you have to caution yourself to follow others, to follow God, and glorify God. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we can see from Toby's answer that initially it looks very easy. Then later, as he continues to talk, it now began to see that actually it's not only God, though. You also need a mentor in your life. And in fact, there are some situations that you also need to make your own personal input. Your own personal input is important as well. So we can see that it became easy, from easy to not that very easy answer. But then we need to note that, just like Toby said, on a very plain level, it is God that we should give that prerogative to. But of course, there are other people who place a solid role in our life, like our parents, like our mentors, our role models. They play a significant role in our life. And of course, yourself, you are also very critical in this matter. In this matter we are discussing about your identity. You are very, very important when it comes to it. If you don't define yourself right, you are going to be in trouble. So I don't know if anybody has any other input before we wrap up.
I actually have something to say, sir.
Go ahead.
Not because I actually have any objection to what Mr. Toby has said anyway. Yeah. But it's just so funny because this question just takes me down memory lane, because when I was in school, my final year project was actually on the personal identity theory of man.
Wow.
And the funny thing is that at the end of that project, sir, I don't even know who was more confused. Maybe it was me or my or my supervisor. Because we were meant to find an objective, identity to define man.
Wow.
An object that is a universal identity to
and
man.
You discover that it's not that very easy. Initially, you think it's so easy.
In fact. Who was more confused? I still don't know up to now whether it was myself or my supervisor, but we were both confused, sir. At the end of the day, we had to conclude the project on.
The point is when it comes to your identity, it is just one factor that is required.
Yeah, it's
there
good.
Are multiple factors
and others
that are considered. In fact, some of them are even contributing without your knowledge.
So God said, I will put watchmen on your towers. I'll put watchmen on your towers. Exactly. Which means that man is required.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. So I believe we can all say what we are talking about here. On the surface, it just looks like it's only God. But when you now begin to look at it more critically, you discover that God has also given a man a role to play in our life. God has also given you your own individual roles to play in your life. Now let's look at what our conversation summary says. God and yourself are the two major factors in the determination of your identity. However, sometimes there are men who can speak into our lives by providing direction for our life. In such a situation, man also can be given permission to define our identity. The challenge here is you don't want to live your life at the mercy of the opinion of men, especially if they are very demoralizing and disempowering. And I think that is what we should just watch out for when men are trying to contribute to our identity. Our leadership mindfulness thought. When good people say good things about you, accept their good compliments. But when certain people are out to bring you down, you need to avoid them like a plague so that you don't lose your self-belief. I think we've come to the end of this. This is the longest unit we have ever discussed so far. So do we have any questions before we go to the next one very quickly? I just hope that one will not be as long as it, because it's another very powerful unit that we are going to learn about. Do we have any question? Quickly.
No, from my own end, I think it's self-explanatory.
Okay, great.